Hello, welcome to the Nintendo Bros podcast, and I'm Pete.
And I'm Derek.
And today we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about, Derek?
We're talking about the fall, or hopefully fall, Nintendo Direct predictions. What we think is going to happen in the coming months for Nintendo Directs.
Yeah, I mean, I figured every time a Nintendo Direct gets announced, everyone makes these prediction videos, and we might as well do one now because even though the Direct is not announced, it's going to happen eventually.
Pretty soon, I think.
I mean, at least I think both of our predictions is that there will be another Direct this fall.
Yeah, I think September.
That's what I'm thinking too. September, probably middle of September, maybe 2 weeks into it.
Yeah. September 14th is my guess.
Yeah, have they announced when the online is coming, or have they just said late September?
They said the second half of September, late September.
The second half. So, to me, that's the biggest indication that usually there is a September Direct every year, I think. There certainly was one last year. But I think the fact that they kind of need to show off this new online setup indicates to me that there really needs to be a Direct before that.
And also, there was recently an announcement about a Nintendo of America Indie Direct coming out. I think it's next week, August 28th.
Nindies. Yeah, that's probably
Nindies.
4 packs.
Probably. And then someone... So last year, at the same time, 2 weeks after the Nintendo of America Nindies Direct was the actual Nintendo Direct. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Now, how do we handle this? I mean, do you want to let me know your predictions on what you think they'll show?
We can go back and forth if you want. I'm good with whatever.
Okay, well, let's hear your predictions first. I mean, I have a feeling a lot of our general predictions are the same.
Okay. So let's start with the obvious stuff then.
Okay.
So the first thing I think they're going to do is... Well, not the first thing, but I think they're going to show off Pokemon. I don't know how much detail they'll show because it depends on whether there's going to be a specific Pokemon Direct. Because we've had Pokemon Directs before. But this game's too big of a game coming out in November. It's going to be selling millions, and I think they're going to want to make sure that there definitely is a spotlight for the game. They talked about there being a new Pokemon in this one game. So, like, never before seen, even though it's from the older version, it's like the first 150 Pokemon, they're adding a new Pokemon. So I think they'll show that Pokemon off.
I thought those are just evolutions that we hadn't seen, what was it? Evolution, like Great Evolution. What's it called? The Super Evolution?
Mega Evolution.
I thought that was just Mega Evolutions of Pokemon from the original.
No, at least from what they said, there's a brand new Pokemon. Unless I misread it, but it's a brand new Pokemon. So it's probably going to be like a legendary Pokemon from the next generation that comes out next year, hopefully.
Now, I don't see them having a dedicated Pokemon Direct for Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah? Okay.
I just don't...
I'm 50-50 on it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a ton to show off because it's basically a remake, if you sum it down.
Yeah, but if you think about the online that they might show off in relation, and then also how it works with Pokemon Go, I mean, like, there could be quite a fair bit to show. That's
true. But, I mean, they showed a lot in that initial trailer, too. I mean, I guess I'm sitting here thinking, what do they still need to show?
Yeah, but you know Nintendo, they can spend 25 minutes going into every detail of, like, every menu button just to make sure you understand it.
That's true. I mean, it's interesting because is it PAX next week where they're going to have Pokemon Let's Go playable?
Oh, I didn't know that.
But recently, they've been showing a lot of Mario Party 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd notice that. So I'm wondering if that'll show up I'm sure that'll show up because it comes out in October. And I can see them, at the very least, doing one more trailer.
Oh, I have Mario Party down for sure. They'll show off the online, the co-op, and the competitive modes. Because they just showed at Gamescom, they have a cooperative mode that we've never seen before. So I think we'll go into a bit more detail about that. It looks pretty cool.
Well, I watched a video of it. Sorry. Yawning, everyone. And I don't know how much else there is to show for it. It's basically cooperative, I believe anywhere from 2 to 4 players. And you are like going down like whitewater rafting down a river,
Yeah.
and you basically two players on the right, two on the left, paddle to choose your direction, and it seems pretty easy. It seems like, I mean, you have to hit these mini game balloons in order
It
to
gets
lower
harder
your
as they
time.
go on, though. They were only at the beginning. Like you saw when they make that first bend, it does get harder. But
Yes, I mean it looks
even
harder, but it also looks like the people playing had no problem finishing it in time.
well, they didn't beat the whole thing, did they? I didn't see that. I thought they had to stop. They weren't allowed going to the end. They said they could only do the first 2 rows, and there's like 6 rows.
Oh no, I saw on Game Explain there was a video, and was it Game
They did the
Explain?
whole thing.
They did the whole thing, yeah.
Oh, cool. The only thing I would say is, even without that mode or whatever, I expect them to show off a couple maps, some characters, something. Give it, because just give it a bigger explanation, because they want this game to sell.
Oh, it's
So I
gonna
think-
sell. It's gonna sell.
I know, but I just think they're gonna want to show some maps off, something, because we've only seen 2 maps. So
I mean, Mario Party is one of those games where I can see them giving us anything from a comprehensive menu breakdown of all the modes and what you can do. I can also see them just giving us a very basic general launch trailer, something we've already covered and full of clips we've already seen. Not something not very exciting, just a reminder. I mean, I can see it going both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's hard to tell. Are you excited for Mario Party 10? Are you gonna pick it up?
You know what? I was on the fence. I have a pre-order just because I have a discount on it, but I wasn't going to. But the more I've seen it, the more I think it actually could be really fun, and it's just nice to have as a party game with friends.
Yep.
So I'm undecided. I'm like 50-50, like completely 50-50 on it.
Did you see the other day on on Amazon in the U.S. For whatever reason, I think it was the top 3 were Smash Brothers, Mario Party, and Metroid Prime 4. Top 3
Oh,
sellers.
wow. Metroid Prime 4 is pretty surprising.
Yeah, everyone was surprised. I mean, it was covered in Switch games, the pre-orders, but people were saying it's because they're getting rid of some discount, so everyone's getting their pre-orders in while the discount still exists. I'm not.
Yeah,
Not
the
too sure.
Prime discount's going away, and Amazon Prime is getting rid of their video game discount.
So what was
But-
the discount? You got a percentage off if you pre-ordered?
So it used to be 20% off, and then it got changed to 10% off, and now they're getting rid of it completely. I think that the Amazon US still gets $10 off, but they've taken Canada's getting screwed. So we went from 20% to 10% to nothing.
I mean, it just seems crazy that to pre-order a game on Amazon, you're getting 20% off. Like
Yeah.
that's just a
That's
straight
awesome.
straight loss for them.
Yeah, but that's how they took out their competition.
I guess so. Yeah.
Also, another reason I think that there might be a lot of Nintendo Switch games on there is not that they're not popular, but Amazon is not selling a lot of PlayStation games right now. There's some problem with Sony and Amazon. I know a lot of the games aren't on Amazon's, at least in Amazon US.
Really?
Yeah, there was some like deal, and basically Amazon's so powerful now that they can kind of decide if you're not going to play by our rules and yada yada yada.
Wow.
So I don't know how
Jeff
it's working out.
Bezos.
Something like that.
You know, it's funny because a couple years ago it was Nintendo that had a problem with Amazon. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was during
I do.
the
It's
Wii
kinda-
U era.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, where it's like games aren't really being stocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this theoretical direct in September,
So Mario Party and Pokemon is what we've discussed.
Mario Party and Pokemon. I think they'll definitely show off Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Torna expansion,
When does that come out?
mid to late September.
Oh, okay. I didn't know when it was coming out. I have no interest in that at all, personally.
I mean, the fact is, I have to own the main game to have it, or I have to buy it physically. I own games digitally, so if it was something that I could just buy digitally and it got good reviews and it had good feedback, I might pick it up. It's kind of like a Xenoblade Lite, right?
I'm just JRPG'd out. Like Octopath was great, but I can only do so many JRPGs a year.
Did you finish Octopath?
100%. Even beat the super secret final super boss.
Wow. And thoughts on that?
Amazing game.
Amazing! Wow.
I recommend it to anyone. Anyone that likes RPGs or old school RPGs or turn-based RPGs, 100% recommend it. It does get a little bit slow once you're nearing like the 7th or 8th character. It gets a little repetitive, but it's such a great game. The bosses are fun. Everything's great about it.
And do you have a problem with the fact that the characters never really engage in each other's stories? I heard that as a major complaint.
Yeah, they don't engage each other's stories, but there's travel banter. So every time you're going through a character's story, once in a while you can press plus, and it'll bring up a little short story between two characters. And you can do that like 5 to 8 times every single mission for every single character. So you end up having a lot of dialogue. It's just not actually in the cutscenes. It's more just like a side little banter.
Okay.
But sometimes it's relevant to the chapter. I had no problem with that. That didn't bother me.
So final score out of 10?
I'd give it a 9.
A
8.5 maybe. 8.5 maybe. Yeah, 9.
A 9. Wow. Okay, that's good to know. And I should also note to our listeners, we're going a little off the rails here. I think we're talking about this direct, but we're going to go on little tangents and kind of do it a little looser, just because it's the morning and I'm feeling like it, you know. Also, we got to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Zion Industries or Zion Industries. I'm guessing it's Zion, based on Matrix. He has left us a couple really nice comments, encouraged us to keep going, and he's one of our first listeners. So, hello, Zion. One day when we have a couple million listeners, you will be championed as one of the first ones.
I don't think any Nintendo podcast is going to get 1 million listeners, but
you can hope.
Yeah, you can dream.
I don't know. Does any podcast get millions of listeners? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a few that got a couple 100,000.
I'd be happy with 5 or 6.
Yeah, million.
Billion. I want a billion. Okay, let's get back on topic here. So, you liked Octopath. Do you think they will have any DLC for it?
No, I don't.
No, the developers
I think they're already working on a new game. It might even be Octopath 2
or Bravely Default 3.
Yeah, yeah. I think they might use the same engine, knowing how well this game sold. So
yeah.
So whether that's Bravely Default or Octopath 2, but we won't see anything in the direct about it.
No, I don't think so either. I think another guarantee for the direct is we will see Diablo 3 again.
Oh, good point. That's a good one.
Maybe get a release date.
Yeah, I think it'll be coming out, November maybe?
I'm predicting early November.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
I also think that we will see Smash Brothers again.
Yeah. What else? What in particular in Smash? Let's get into details, not just skim over stuff.
I'm not going to skim over. I was just opening the door.
Oh, okay.
2 hours later. I think that they will probably just stick to showing off a new character, or 3 or 5.
Yeah, I agree. It won't be the new mode. That'll be for another Smash Direct.
It's not a Smash Bros. Direct, so I don't think we'll be seeing 25 minutes on it, but I think maybe at the end, kind of like when they showed off Greninja in one of those Wii U Directs.
Yeah.
It was a regular Direct, and at the very end, they showed kind of there was a new revealer, or a newcomer. So I think they'll maybe do that again, but maybe they'll pair 2 fighters in one video.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sakurai spoke for a little bit and talked about an Echo, and then an Echo appeared. But I think, yeah.
Well,
do you have any predictions on what character?
I wouldn't be surprised if it just happens. Like I don't think he needs to speak. I think they just the same way K. Rool was showed off. Like Sakurai never came back on and said, "Hey, so K. Rool, this and that." They just showed him. So yeah. I think they'll do something similar, and I think it'll be probably like a split of Majora's Mask, Skull Kid, and Dixie Kong.
Okay, I'm just saying. I think Skull Kid. I think there's too many reasons that Skull Kid is probably in the game.
Yep.
And I think it'll be Isabelle from Animal Crossing, not Dixie Kong. I don't think Dixie Kong is going to be in the base game.
Wow. Well, I actually, I was originally thinking it would be something like Isabelle and Dixie are the Echoes, and then they have the newcomer, which is Skull Kid.
Okay, I was on the same. Those are the three that I was thinking of.
Or even at this point, I mean, if we're really going to predict, let's say another three or four newcomers, then they might even show two newcomers. Like they might do what they did during the last direct where they showed K. Rool and Simon Belmont and Richter. They might show us two brand new newcomers and maybe two echoes.
See, I'm surprised that you only think 3 or 4 more newcomers. I'm like looking at more like 6 newcomers and 6 echoes.
Wow, 6 newcomers.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
he said not that many new characters. I don't think they'll have 6 newcomers.
Yeah, but 6 plus the 4 that we have right now is still less than most of the games. And if you look at a timeline between when Smash is announced to when Smash characters come out, it looks like there's gonna be a lot more characters announced.
Yeah, but you have to remember. You got to remember that. I totally lost my train of thought. That he did say there wouldn't be a lot of newcomers this time, and you got to treat characters like Snake and Young Link and Pichu like they're new, and Ice Climbers, because I mean they're...
Yeah, but the time to make those new characters is not as long as making brand new characters. And they already had an HD engine going for Smash. They already had HD assets for all the other characters. They already had a lot of HD levels. It's not like they had to put a lot of work into those aspects, not as much as they have, let's say, for the Smash for Wii U. In the Smash for Wii U, they added like 16 characters. Anyways, we can talk about Smash for an hour.
Well, I mean, we talked about it during our Smash Bros. Conversation, 3 hours.
I think there's going to be a lot of characters.
I mean, I think there'll probably be about 3 or 4 newcomers left and 3 or 4 echoes, and you think 5 or 6. So it's a pretty small difference. But
I'm more like 6 to 8.
Okay, well, I can see.
I think 5's the lowest number of newcomers we'll get.
Okay. Well, you know what I actually think they'll do is they won't show off the spirits mode yet, even though everyone and their grandma knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they will probably show off a couple new characters, and maybe if anything they'll talk about an online demo, like a weekend, like they do.
Like a Smash Fest or whatever.
Yeah, like a Smash Fest weekend where for a certain amount of hours, or maybe they'll do it like Mario Tennis and Splatoon, where you have where it's like a test fire. You have like 1 hour to play it,
and they'll probably link that with the online, saying, "Oh, and you have to have online to be able to do it."
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like, hey, if you're paying for online, we'll give you a free demo. Thank you. But I see them announcing that in maybe like the mid-September direct, and then it would probably come in October.
Uh-huh.
I mean, realistically, I think there's probably one direct in September, one in November, which is more or less like a Smash Bros. Pokemon launch direct, and that's probably it for the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know if there'll be I think this will be the last Nintendo Direct. I think the one in November will be a Smash Direct.
I think it depends, because they might have some sort of games they haven't coming in in January and February that they want to spotlight.
Yeah, but I think they normally have a January Direct, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. So in that case, maybe this will be the last time we. Would they have a dedicated Pokemon Go Direct as well, and a dedicated Smash Bros. Direct?
That's what I said. I don't know with the Pokemon one, so that depends on what we see at this Direct. I think there will 100% be another Smash Direct, but Pokemon's up in the air.
I mean, I can see them in November saying we have a Direct that's going to focus on Pokemon Let's Go and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that's it. Like they come out and say these are they've done it before. They did it. I believe they did it around the time Switch came out, and they said we're having a direct that focuses on ARMS and Splatoon 2. And that direct was basically focused on those two and nothing else. So I can see that happening in a November direct.
Yeah, I mean, again, I personally don't think that'll happen, but I could see it happening.
The other thing I think we'll see in the next Nintendo Direct in September will be Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Oh yeah, that game looked pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool. I'm still not sure what to make of it. It seems like it's too good to be true in a way when I hear about it and see it. I mean, it's like this open, seamless, giant world, and it's not procedurally generated planets. It's a little bit like, really? Is this really what it is? Is it going to run well? And the other reservation I have about it is am really interested in it to play Fox McCloud. And, am I going to be paying full price for a game and then paying another $20-$30 for the Fox add-on? I don't know if I really want to do that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. $90 for a game I didn't even really want that much. So, who knows? Yeah, I think that'll definitely make an appearance because it's got Fox in it, and it's kind of being positioned as a Nintendo Switch title first, even though it's not. So yeah, I think that'll show up. I think a big roster of third-party games will show up. I think we'll see Diablo. I think we'll see, a reminder that Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z is coming. Like all these types of things.
Yeah, a lot of reminders. How about game announcements though? Let's talk about new stuff. They're not just like reminders of games that we already come out in more detail. How about new stuff?
Well, I have a feeling there won't be a ton of new stuff. I think that when they come out and ship... I think it can go both ways, right? I think they can go the way of saying, no, we're going to focus on this fall's lineup of games. We're going to talk about the online. And it's going to be more... And Smash Bros. And it'll still be a good direct, but it'll be more reserved. I can also see them going the route of saying, no, we're going to show you some of our early 2019 games as well.
Yeah.
Because I looked at a lineup of games coming out next year from January, February, and March, and there's no Switch games. There are a couple announcements. Saints Row the Third just got announced for March, but other than that, it's like nothing's really announced for Switch.
So, okay, here I'm going to start saying some predictions based on what you're saying.
Okay.
So I think there's a good chance. Not a good chance, I would say a decent chance, that Mario Kart 8 DLC gets announced.
It was announced. It was already announced.
When was it announced?
That you can use the Labo, the new Labo with it.
Oh, but I mean like actual DLC level.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Oh. So
I would love that.
I think there's a chance that it's direct. They say, hey, we're having online, and here's one new thing we're adding with the online, and boom, Mario Kart 8 DLC coming in February and June, something like that.
Oh, I think if it's coming in February and June, they'll announce it far later. I think at this point, when they announce the Mario Kart new tracks, which I hope is coming, it'll be released the very day they talk about it.
Well, that didn't happen the last time. I don't know.
Things were a little more desperate on the Wii U. And when they did, yeah, you're right. They announced it, I think, in August, and it came out in November. But I don't see them announcing it in September and it coming out in February, 6 months later. That just seems...
okay, you're right. Maybe not 6 months. Maybe November and then February.
Yeah, I can see them announcing it. I think it would be something where if they do break it into packs, let's say, one pack would come the day they announce it, and one would come a little bit later.
Yeah.
Mario Kart Aces has now been out for well over a year.
Mario Kart Aces?
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been out for over a year. They haven't mentioned DLC, but if they're working on it, I think it's pretty far along.
I can't imagine them putting... They have added extra stuff since launch. So there's got to be somebody working on the extra stuff.
Well, exactly. I think it is coming, and at this point it's the best-selling game on Switch, and it probably will end up being the best-selling game on Switch because it just keeps selling. Yeah. But I do think DLC is on the way. I don't think a Mario Kart 9 is on the way. I think they're just going to add DLC to Mario Kart 10. Probably they'll give us 2 cups, and that'll probably be it. I think for the whole generation.
Yeah, something like that.
Nothing
major.
Nothing. It's not like they'll keep going and going and going with it. I feel like Smash Bros will keep going with new characters, but I feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will probably get one more batch of DLC, and I feel like that's it because that team can move on to Animal Crossing, or it can move on to Splatoon content, or it can move on to Diddy Kong. There's tons of stuff that team could do. Yeah. And I think if we get 8 or 16 more tracks in Mario Kart, I think that'd be just gravy. Mm-hmm. I'd love that. Maybe some new characters, Birdo, Diddy Kong.
So what do you think about the rumor that new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe will come to the Switch?
So I think it's one of those rumors that doesn't. It's such an obvious thing to happen that people who are saying it, oh yeah, it's coming, even if they announce it 3 years from now, they'll say, yeah, see, I told you so.
Yeah.
Just like when Switch was being announced and people were saying, oh, they're going to release Smash Bros. For it. And they didn't. There was no word of it right away. And a year later, they said, yeah, Smash Bros. Is coming out. So I think it'll kind of be one of those situations. But I do think it's coming.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons. Not because of the rumors. For one, they are definitely making a Mario Maker for Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best-selling games on the Wii U. One of the most popular games, easy to market. It was very big online, and I definitely think a sequel is coming. Now, it makes 1,000,000% sense to me that you have to get the new Super Mario Bros. Game out before Mario Maker.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Because you can effectively just create, I mean, not 100%, but you can pretty much recreate the levels yourself. So I definitely think they want to get that new Super Mario Bros. Game out, because I predict Mario Maker is coming next year at some point.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that they need to get this game out there to maximize its sales potential, and I really think it's probably going to be new Super Mario Bros. U plus new Super Luigi Bros. U.
Yeah, I think it'll be both too.
I think it'll be both, and it'll maybe if we're lucky, it'll be $49.99, like a Captain Toad pricing.
No way.
You think it'll be full price?
Yeah, with Luigi in it. Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll probably end up being full price because that seems to be the status quo. But I really hope that it's a little bit discounted.
Mm-hmm.
I also hope they add something to it. I don't know what, but I mean, maybe I'm pushing my luck here, but online.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, the point is we can both play NES games online. That are 2-player.
Yeah.
With the new things.
Peter?
Yeah?
I have to run to the bathroom, okay? I'll be right back.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. That was just a little bathroom break. Let's get back on topic here. We're talking about new Super Mario Bros.
Yep.
I definitely think it's coming.
Yeah, me too.
I think the real question is it... I definitely think it's coming, and I even think there's a good chance we'll hear about it in this next Direct. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a fall title, like a late announced fall title, or
so not 2018.
Q1 2019. No, like a fall 2018.
Oh, okay.
So I either think it's going to be announced in September and probably drop in November, or they'll announce it and it'll come like early January or February.
Yeah, I think February or January make the most sense.
I think that it should definitely... I think it could definitely come out this year. I don't see why it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I look at the lineup for the rest of the year, it's not that exciting. I mean, sure, there'll be a lot of games that I buy, but I'm really not interested in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, me neither.
So it's just one of those things, and I'm not someone who feels obliged to buy it because
it's
there,
Nintendo.
because it's there. Yeah. It doesn't look interesting to me at all. Like the gameplay doesn't look fun, and I'm kind of reluctant to RPGs and even reluctant to Pokemon games in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think it's for your kind of you.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm just wondering like what's being positioned as that other game. If Nintendo sees it that way, I mean. I think they might see it as Pokemon and Smash Bros.
And I don't think they need another game to cover those that don't like Pokemon, because Pokemon's going to sell like millions. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we need another game just in case for those people that don't like Pokemon. I think a lot of people that own a Switch love Pokemon.
True. I just wonder, are we at a point where Nintendo feels like they need to spread those releases out? I think that is also what it comes down to, and that's why I'd be a little disappointed if new Super Mario Bros. U, or Deluxe, or whatever they call it, comes out early Q1 2019. To me, that's also kind of indicative of them not having much else in 2019, early 2019. So
yeah, good point.
I don't know. I mean, I'm at this point now where I'm kind of thinking they really have committed to this 20 million hardware sold.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to do quite phenomenally for the rest of the year to hit that. Like, I almost don't think they will. I think they'll probably land on the 16 million mark. But it's also kind of confusing because their Q1 this year... Sorry, it's confusing because Nintendo's Q1 is actually April, May, June,
Mm.
where their Q4 is April, May. Sorry,
Or January, February,
January,
March.
February, March is their Q4 because their fiscal year ends in March. So their Q4, their January, February, March is their last quarter to reach just 20 million sales. When I say Q1 2019, I'm speaking of the first quarter. So back to the point is that what do they expect to make units sell that first quarter? And I mean, knowing them, maybe it will be New Super Mario Bros. Maybe that's all they need. It is kind of a big game.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had a 2D Mario yet, and 2D Marios do sell like crazy. But yeah, it's an old one, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it's not that old.
No, I just mean it's a port. I mean it's not a brand new one.
Exactly. It's a remaster, which I think maybe leads me to believe that they will not position it as its own game of a quarter.
But the only thing though is every single port that's been brought over so far has sold better than the Wii U version. So it's kind of like I don't know.
Well, and New Super Mario Bros. U sold about 5 million copies on the Wii U, so I think it'll easily sell 10 million. I mean that's why I think it's important to give it its own holiday. Like I think that it is possible they could announce it in September, release in November, and just say to hell with it. You know, we got Pokemon and New Super Mario
they'll have
Bros.
like a strong 3 games, one a port, one Pokemon, and one Smash.
Yeah,
right. Those 3 are like the trifecta of like solid selling games.
Exactly, but you know, my gut does tell me that they're gonna say no. You want a game other than Smash Bros. Or Pokemon, then buy Mario Party,
or buy Diablo,
buy one of these other games, buy Cloud Atlas or Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Yeah.
Buy the Mario Kart DLC. You know, but they probably in their minds think there's enough to play, and in a way there is. I think it'll still do fine. I would just be more disappointed if this New Super Mario Bros. Is like all they have for January, February, March. So I think there's a couple possibilities. And I mean, I think my deep core of knowing Nintendo disappoints is saying that New Super Mario Bros. Will come next year, Mario Maker will come in 2020, and not to get your hopes up, and not to even almost maybe don't even expect it to be announced in September.
Yeah, it could totally not be there. I mean, we always hype up our Nintendo Directs, but they end up not having a lot of the content that we think it will.
Exactly. I think there's one other possibility too, in that they have specifically at E3 they said they're not showing 2019 titles, and even though they showed Daemon X Machina and a little bit of Fire Emblem, they didn't really cover 2019 games, and I think that they wanted to give Smash Bros. The spotlight, so I think there is the potential that there is actually a much bigger game coming early next year, like maybe in March, that there is the possibility that we'll see something in line with either Animal Crossing, Pikmin 4, or Star Fox Racing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about Pikmin 4 or the first game you said, Animal Crossing, just because we haven't seen them at all. It's possible, but I for my last big prediction, that was kind of unlikely. I said there could be a trailer for either Retro's new game, which we've rumored to be Star Fox Racing,
yep,
or Metroid 4 or Bayonetta 3. Whether that game comes out in the first 6 months of 2019 or not, I don't know, but there's a good chance that they say, hey, here's one big game that to keep you looking forward to next year too.
Well, just to interject, I think that there's a good chance we'll see Metroid Prime 4 and or Bayonetta 3 before the end of the year. My gut tells me that we'll see one of them, probably Metroid Prime 4. I think we'll see the first trailer at the Game Awards in December.
Good point.
Because Nintendo's been they've been big at showcasing there, and you know last year they announced Bayonetta, and I think it'd be the perfect opportunity, even if it's just some CG trailer for Metroid, to show that. I can also see them showing it off at the next Direct in September. I mean, our hypothetical Direct. But at the same time, I really, really doubt that Metroid Prime 4 or Bayonetta 3 are going to come early next year, let alone next year at all.
Oh, okay.
I actually think these a good chance these titles are 2020 titles.
I think Bayonetta 3 is likely to be a 2019 title. Metroid Prime is up there. Bayonetta 3 is not it's not that intensive to make. It's only Bayonetta 2 took 4 years to make.
You're right. It didn't. It took about 2.5, 3, I think. I mean, it was announced in September 2012 and it was released in, I believe, November or October 2014.
So it's less than 2 years.
Well, from announcement.
From announcement.
But I mean, who knows how early Bayonetta 3 was announced? But I have a feeling you're right in that Bayonetta 3 will probably come out next year, maybe in the fall or late summer. So yeah, maybe there's a good chance we'll see that sooner rather than later.
But as far as like Animal Crossing and whatever other game you mentioned was
Pikmin 3.
I don't think they're gonna do big. How do I phrase this? Big first party games that are big in Japan at a direct. I think those will be a bigger conference.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if these games are set to release before E3 next year,
They have to show them.
What conference would this be at? And the thing is, with something like Animal Crossing, it really doesn't need a 12-month hype cycle. And if they were sitting on it last year thinking, yeah, Animal Crossing is our early 2019 game, do we want to show it at E3? Because, you know, we were going to get deep into Animal Crossing. We're going to talk about all the new features. We're going to talk about the social features and show the new graphics. Like, are they going to want to do that with Smash Bros. At the same time? Like, to me, it makes sense
overkill.
what they showed. It's a little overkill. And right now, we don't really know what they have coming next year. I mean, we've seen a couple things.
Well, we got Yoshi, Fire Emblem,
and Daemon X Machina, and people assume Metroid Prime 4, and people assume Bayonetta 3, and I'm even assuming that we're getting new Super Mario Bros. And maybe Mario Maker.
And maybe Retro's game.
Like, there's a lot of assumptions to make, but at the end of the day, it could be very little. It could be like new Super Mario Bros. in the first quarter, Fire Emblem and Daemon X Machina in the second quarter in the summertime, and then in the fall we get Bayonetta 3 and Mario Maker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the year. It'd be better than this year for first-party games.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, sort of, kind of, not really. But who knows, right? But I do think that we're in this world now where they are doing like a 6-month-ish hype cycle. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason to assume that something is showed in September, or unveiled in September, and released in March. That could be any size of game.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember that, you know, Smash Bros. Got announced at E3 and it's coming out this year, which is like a huge game, and it has less than 6 months. Or just over 6 months. Yep,
and even the last Mario Odyssey was shown off, you know, at the Switch unveiling in October, and then released just a year later.
Yeah,
and we had heard nothing about it before. So I think they're on this shorter cycle, and it makes sense to me. Like, I'd rather hear about a game coming out sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. These 3 or 4 or even like 5-year hype cycles are ridiculous. Like, think about Final Fantasy VII Remake, or you think about Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like, I have no excitement for Kingdom Hearts 3 now because it's been like 6 years in the waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pre-order from 2013 for Kingdom Hearts 3.
I mean, it looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, it looks awesome, but it's kind of like, you know, it's just so long. So it's kind of like, you know, I have no hype for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really hype those games anyways because the graphics are incredible, but I just can't get behind the gameplay or stories. But back to Nintendo, I think something like a Pikmin or Animal Crossing are the kind of games that could come out in March or February that they would announce in September. So I'm pretty excited for this Direct because whenever it happens, I really hope and think we need to get a glimpse of what's coming next year because Fire Emblem looked way too early and they said spring, which to me means June. I think it'll come in the next summer.
Mm-hmm.
Daemon X Machina, I mean, it's not really a first-party game. I know it's being published by Nintendo, but I don't think
that's going to sell well. Maybe I'm wrong, but that game does not look like it's going to be a big seller.
Yeah, but we're in the Switch era now. Like, everything's a big seller.
That's true. Even Bad North is a big seller.
Yeah, even Bad North was a big seller. But, you know, I just think the way that they've shown it so far, it's gotten the publicity. I think it can sell well. It had its own E3. It's been at Gamescom. Like, it's had its. I think that's, if anything, Daemon X Machina is something that could be in a March position. I just don't see it where I think it's selling adequately for what it is, or even well for what it is. It's not like some big evergreen giant title. It's not a new.
Yeah.
It's not in the vein of a Animal Crossing or a Star Fox Racing, or you know what I mean. Like those are games that'll sell really well.
That's why to me it's more likely that it's going to be in the summer, because usually like those third party or pseudo third parties like Octopath, for example, come out in the lull in the summer.
Yeah, but Octopath, I wouldn't. Oh, you mean Daemon X Machina? I agree.
Yeah.
Like it'll fill that void. They also have that early of the year kind of. I mean, it used to be a void where Nintendo would launch their Fire Emblem, or they had Bravely Default, or like kind of RPG experiences coming out early in the year. When in February used to be a quiet month, now it's not.
Well, I know. I was going to say next year for 2019, January, February, and even into March are as heavy for third parties and first parties PS4 and Xbox titles, right? So I don't know how much Nintendo, if they're looking at that, how much they're going to want to put their big heavy hitters. Maybe one, but they want to be careful about cannibalizing their sales.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, even if half the games that are coming out in Q1 next year get delayed, there's an incredible slate of games on display for PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, there's so many.
I mean, between Resident Evil 2 and Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
That game looks really cool. Devil May Cry 5, Days Gone, Crackdown, Anthem. I think a number of these games are going to get delayed. But still, it's kind of like, the Switch is just left out in the cold. And it's
Metro Exodus.
It's not going to look that good if the Switch is there and saying, yeah, like we've got new Super Mario Bros. U.
Yeah, I think they definitely need a heavy hitter in that first 3 months of the year. But I just don't think they're going to have this same level that it looks like the PS4 is having. I think if anything, Nintendo would be smart to position themselves for the summer, because if they look at the summer this past year, Octopath killed it because it had no competition. And right now it's looking like the year is so heavy loaded next year, or front loaded, that if they just move into the summer and take 3 or 4 big games from, I don't know, April until August, I think those could all sell really well.
Well, true, but it's at the same time, this is I mean, just because games are coming out on other systems doesn't mean Nintendo needs to hold back. I think if anything,
exactly, I know, yeah,
it's they need to have some sort of retail presence with something big, and I don't know. New Super Mario Bros. U might not be the answer, because it's basically a remaster, and it seems like with the remasters that came this year, which was I believe Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Bayonetta, and Hyrule Warriors were like the early year games.
Yep.
They didn't really position them as these big tier efforts. I mean, they weren't like, yeah, you have to buy these games, they're huge. They more or less showed them off and said they're coming, and they released them. They didn't treat them as big as a game, even as Kirby.
Yeah, good point.
And the Kirby sold really well. So I can see, my prediction is that early in the year next year, we're going to see a couple things like New Super Mario Bros. U. We're going to see maybe a port of Wonderful 101.
No way. 100% no way.
I mean, you say no way, but they teased it.
Okay.
Platinum Games teased it.
I will be shocked beyond all compare if that game gets a remake. That game sold so disastrously horribly. There's just no way.
I mean, I would say there's no way other than Platinum Games teasing it.
Yeah, they teased it, but I just mean, Kamiya is always kind of like that. He always has these...
Bless me. Bless me.
Kamiya always likes to do those little things where he teases about things, and, I mean, I just don't see it happening. That game did not sell well at all.
I just think the way Wii U remasters are selling on Switch, it almost makes no sense to avoid Wonderful 101. I mean, it was a pretty high budget effort. It was a pretty big game. Like it wasn't a low tier effort. And I believe I mean, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, Kamiya, or sorry, how do you say his name? Kamiya?
Kamiya is what I say.
Kamiya? Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And Platinum said in an interview was that Wonderful 101 was one of the hardest games to develop. I mean, it's certainly a very long game. and I really think it needs a second life. And especially if you look at how Wonder Red showed up on the Smash Bros roster, and it's gotten a little bit of a fan cult following. And
Wait. Wonder Red on the Smash Bros roster?
Wonder Red has shown up on. It was actually on the Smash Bros poll. Was up there.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. When you say roster, I thought you meant like you thought
coming?
he was in the game.
No, he's definitely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that I actually do think Wonderful 101 is gonna come, and
Okay.
we're all gonna buy it.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, I'd be surprised.
I would
I'd be
love
shocked.
to. I would love to replay that game on the Switch.
I would love to replay that game too.
Yeah, because some of the worst parts of that game were the Wii U integration. So we're removing
Yeah.
that, and I also think they'll be smart enough to. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into hypotheticals here, but if they did re-release Wonderful 101 on the Switch, they'd have some sort of option for like a touchscreen. You had to draw your items
Yeah.
or your weapon.
I
That-
never did that.
You never played Wonderful 101?
I played Wonderful 101, but it was people said it's recommended not to do the drawing, but use the analog
Well,
stick.
yeah, but you're still using the analog stick to draw it.
Yeah, but I just don't. I never used the stylus or touchpad.
Yeah,
or
me
whatever.
neither. Of course, I use the analog stick as well, but I'm still like drawing it with the analog stick. Where I think they'll have some sort of other option where you don't have to draw it anymore, and you can just like either use this touchscreen on the side and like hold down an icon, or like something like you
No,
use
no
the
way.
D-pad. I don't.
No way.
I
That's
think
the
so.
whole point of the game. That's what makes the game interesting.
Yeah, but still, like if you're drawing a sword, let's say, you could just as easily hold up on the D-pad for as long as you want the sword to be drawing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to imagine too. Like, people are gonna play this in different ways, so they need to make it more very adaptable. And I with the complaints they got about the controls, I can see there being something like that, where like you tap you tap one of the D-pad directions and hold down for as long as you want the gun or the sword to draw.
I think that's taking out the core function of what makes a game even remotely interesting.
Well, I don't. I think the game's interesting in its combat and choosing those items. I don't think drawing those items is what made it interesting. I mean, you drew a circle, it would be a bomb. You drew a line, it would be a sword. It's not rocket science. And it's not like you could draw a squiggly sword.
Yeah, but the point is, how fast can you draw them all? Right? When you're switching combos, you're drawing lines, squiggly line, like triangles, circles. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah, but those elements of the game were not popular.
Okay.
So
well,
I mean,
I don't think this game's gonna even come out. So whatever.
I can definitely see them reworking those controls. But yeah, I think it is coming, and I think that at the very least, I think there'll be some Wii U remasters next year, and my prediction will be New Super Mario Bros. And Wonderful 101. And I think both of those will be announced in the Direct.
Okay, both those are gonna be announced in the direct. Interesting.
Well, what
Okay.
remasters do you see coming out next year?
As far as remasters,
Yeah.
besides Super Mario Bros, nothing.
Wow. I mean,
I think we're more likely to see Yoshi's Flipped World and more Fire Emblem than we are to see another remaster. At least in this direct. Besides Mario.
Yeah. I mean, I actually don't think we will see any Fire Emblem or Yoshi at this next Direct.
Neither do I. I just also don't think we're going to see more ports besides Mario. I don't think they're I think they heard the fans at E3 and they said, okay, it's okay to show ports, but we can't make that our whole thing.
Yeah, I think they are being very sensitive about how many remasters they show versus new games. But no one seemed to complain when they showed Tropical Freeze and Hyrule Warriors, and it's
Tons of people complained.
Did they?
Yeah, people were super upset.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, to notice that their next 6 months or whatever was strictly ports, or more or less. Bummed people out a lot.
I've got to say, the first half of 2018 was fairly disappointing.
That's what I mean.
I mean, it didn't bother me so much because I had a big backlog, and I never feel like there's not enough to play. And Hollow Knight came out, but if you really think about it, like Kirby was in March, and then in June it was Mario Tennis, and a couple DLC for Mario Rabbids and DLC for Splatoon. But other than that, there was really nothing new, and there was nothing big and exciting. Like there's no Breath of the Wild There's no
Yeah.
Smash Bros. There's nothing really powerful. Even a lot of these games did sell well, especially the remasters, and Kirby sold well. But me personally, I don't have a huge interest in Kirby. I didn't love Mario Tennis. Like, it's not a mainstay. It's a good game. So there wasn't really anything on. I bought Tropical Freeze and I bought Bayonetta, and those are great. But like, there's nothing really big, new, and exciting for the first half of this year. And to be honest, the only quote unquote big, new, and exciting thing for me all year is Smash Bros. All year.
As far as for me as a consumer, it's probably I agree. Smash Bros, maybe Mario Party. I don't care about Pokemon, but I know it'll be big. But for me, yeah, Smash Bros and maybe Mario Party.
Yeah, but I mean, last year I was like, I'm really excited to play Breath of the Wild. I'm really excited to play ARMS. I'm really excited to play Splatoon. I'm really excited to play Odyssey. You know, there's a lot of... And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out last year, and Fire Emblem Warriors came out. And, you know, it was a pretty powerful year.
But I think that's why this year has a lull. That's why I think next year will be a very powerful year and we won't see a lot of ports. That's why I think there won't be a lot of ports next year.
True. I mean, the reason I'm leaning on ports now is because we're at this point where we don't really have anything announced, and the only thing we do have announced are games that don't look like they're coming in Q1. Yoshi's nowhere to be seen, and I mean, so hard to predict with Nintendo. Like, that's why I really do feel like they have something big for early next year.
Well, I mean, it could be Retro has really been working on something for a while.
Yeah, but there was that rumor that they worked on a game for 2 years that got canceled. So we don't really know how far along in development they are. But I think if you really look at the lineup of games that Nintendo has, even theoretically, you're looking at like having a bunch of games stacked at the same time. I mean, if we're looking at even from the second half of next year on to the first half of 2020, like in that window of time, there's just so many games coming out, and I imagine there's a lot of projects from like EAD Japan, and maybe like Next Level Games has a game, and you just imagine that all these games are going to kind of stack at the same time. So that's why I'm kind of led to believe like, no, there's got to be something for early next year. Like, they definitely could have got something significant ready for that window.
And you think that whatever it is will be shown at the Direct?
I think there's a good chance of it. Yeah, I mean, I do think there's a good chance of it. And I hope it's something exciting. Like, I think it's the perfect window for something like Animal Crossing.
Okay.
You know, that would be huge. That would justify their 20 million units, because I think it would do really well in Japan, really well worldwide. I think something like Ep.4 could come out. So yeah, I guess my prediction is that we'll see something at least in the first chunk of next year that's a bigger game. And I think it's going to be something that's unannounced. I think it'll be something like not Metroid, like a probably it'll be between Pikmin, Animal Crossing, and Star Fox Racing, if I had to predict.
Do you say Diddy Kong Racing?
No, Star Fox Racing.
Oh yeah, okay,
Just
yeah,
the rumors,
I agree.
right?
Star Fox Racing is, yeah, I think Animal Crossing is the best choice that you. And I really like the point that you made that said, you know, if their goal is 20 million, having a Q1. Or Q4 or whatever we're using as January to March, having a big game that sells units, Animal Crossing's the way to go. Like, as big as Star Fox Racing could be, Star Fox does not sell that many copies, let alone units.
I agree. I just think this new Star Fox Racing is going to be way higher quality and positioned as a big title, and I think it will be a big title. Like, it's retro. I mean, they only make good games.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we're at the point now where, like, even if you released something like Star Fox Zero on Switch, it would sell well.
Yeah.
Because Switch owners are hungry.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. And, yeah, I think... So, I guess the real question is, I mean, we know during the next Direct we'll see the obligatory Mario Party and Diablo in this year's games. I think the real question is there something else coming this year that we don't know about? And... are they going to show something big or something at all for next year?
Yeah.
And what I want is that for them to come out in September and say, yeah, new Super Mario Bros. Is coming this year, and so is GTA 5. The two predominant rumors, I would say.
Do you think they're going to take time to talk about the online? Like, take a couple minutes and actually just talk about what new features are added?
I do, and I think they'll give the NES games a spotlight, like how they work. I think they'll show how the cloud saves work. I mean, And I think certain games like Zelda and Mario Kart are going to need updates, so they'll have to say, okay, yeah, we've updated these games, and now you can save your cloud saves. So
Yeah.
I really do think they're going to implement a lot of that,
And
and they're
that's
going to show it
why
off.
that's why I think an early September direct makes the most sense, right? Like they're gonna have to. I think this direct will have to go before the online comes out.
Same,
in
but
my
I can also
opinion.
see them having it a few days before.
Yeah, good point.
And yeah, like who knows? Maybe they'll announce. I think there will be some sort of surprise for this year, whether or not it's Mario Kart DLC or new Super Mario Bros. Hitting. Like, I think there will be something somewhat surprising.
Yeah.
They said there's more coming this year, and I don't think Diablo 3 was it. So
Oh yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's gonna be like a big new title we haven't heard about. I think it'll probably end up being something like a remaster, a new Super Mario Bros. Remaster.
Yeah. There's also a chance, just totally off topic, because you're talking about Diablo, is that Overwatch gets announced because BlizzCon is also coming up in, I believe, November. So you don't know if Overwatch gets announced.
I don't think it is because they've asked them about that and they've kind of said no. They've said it's possible, but they haven't. I mean, I guess they said the same thing about Diablo.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't know. I think it's a long shot too. I'm just saying you don't know what gets announced. Even at BlizzCon, if they say, "Oh, we have a new game, StarCraft, whatever, Diablo 4, this is coming to Switch." I mean,
I think
I'm just talking about announcements
Hearthstone is probably the most we could expect for the Switch in the near term.
I'd be shocked if they don't announce Hearthstone on Switch.
Yeah, eventually, and I really think that right now Blizzard is going to focus on Diablo 3 for Switch in their marketing.
Yeah.
And I also think that Rockstar is probably going to be focusing on Red Dead Redemption 2, which means that if there is a GTA 5, we're probably not going to hear about it at this direct. I don't know, maybe. I really would. I anticipate the day that we watch a Nintendo Direct and GTA 5 trailer shows up. Because even though it's an old game and it's kind of expected, like I think it'll just be a huge moment.
Yeah, to have that game portable.
I mean, it's to me, it's not a matter of when; it's of if. It's a matter of when. Because it's going to sell so well on that system.
Yeah, it'll be announced the same day GTA 6 for PS4 gets announced.
Yeah,
PS5.
no. Or I was joking and I said GTA 5 will come out the same day on Switch that GTA 5, 4, and 3 remastered come out for PS4, Xbox One. Because that's like the trend with Dark Souls, with Mass Effect. Yeah. So it's like the joke is that the same day it comes out on Switch as the whole trilogy comes out on the other system. But I don't think that's going to happen. To be honest, I can see them announcing GTA 5 like later this year for Switch to come early next year, like come in February or January. And I think to be honest, they could literally rest on New Super Mario Bros. And GTA 5 for a whole quarter. Like that, those games are big enough.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean it'd be kind of disappointing for new games, but it would be big still. So who knows their plans, but I still do hope there's another surprise for this year. I think New Super Mario Bros. This year would be great. I think it'd be a great family game, a great multiplayer game for like Christmases and things like that. It would still do really well. It's the kind of game that sells over the course of time, so it's not like it because it doesn't have its own launch window, it's got to be hampered in its sales. Like New Super Mario Bros. Is the kind of game that just keeps selling forever and ever.
Yeah.
I think they'd be, if anything, more scared that releasing New Super Mario Bros. And Pokemon Go in the same month would detract from people buying things like Diablo and third-party games. So my base feeling is that no, we're not going to get any more surprises this year.
Okay, yeah, I agree. No more surprises this year. I think we will have one or two surprises in the direct as far as new games shown go, or games we haven't heard about yet. But yeah, I think this year is pretty much done.
Same. I think it's pretty much done. If anything, we'll get some indie surprises. But yeah, it's really my interest on this direct is, I mean, obviously Smash Bros. Characters, but it's what is coming next year, what's coming early next year, and as the year goes on, we'll speculate more on that. I mean, so yeah, I guess we kind of covered what the direct could be.
Yep.
There's also next week or later this week, next week, there's a Nindies Direct in PAX we mentioned. Do we want to just quickly talk about anything you expect or hope from there?
I hope they show Wargroove. That's the only game that I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I hope they show Wargroove. I also hope they show Travis Strikes Again.
I don't care about that game.
I think it looks cool. I think it's...
It's just not. It's not my kind of game. I didn't love the Travis game, the first game, No More Heroes. So.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't really love No More Heroes either, but this is an indie game. I don't know what the price of it is, but it's cooperative.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it
It's
out.
a beat 'em up.
I'm gonna watch the Nindies Direct. I just mean, so far the only game that I has really got my interest is Wargroove.
Okay, well, I mean, it's just speaking of all these of surprises coming later this year. Travis Strikes Again is something that is announced for this year, and it probably will come out this fall. And I think we probably will get a release date announcement, if not a shadow drop, at the Nindies Direct for it. Yeah, so I'm excited for it. So I think that'll be another one that kind of fills in that holiday for gamers. It's an exclusive. It's got co-op. It looks really well made. Looks like a fan letter to indie games. It looks great. I think it looks great. Trying to think what else. There's a couple news items. Figured we'd cover our news items today.
Sure, go ahead.
Mario Kart 8 is functional with the new Nintendo Labo.
Okay.
And
So like the steering wheel.
the steering wheel, yeah, that's the thing.
And what about the gas pedal?
Yep, gas pedal
Okay.
and steering wheel.
That's cool.
I don't think it works with like the submarine and the airplane bits, but I think it works with the car bits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another thing we didn't really talk about. That Nintendo Labo, I don't know if there's a name for this one, if it's like the driver kit or something coming out this year. Have they announced a release date for it, or is it just fall?
Let me look it up.
I think
I don't think they have a specific release date for it.
I know it's coming out this fall, and I mean that might be.
It says 14th of September is what I'm reading.
Oh yeah, that's right, September. So that's soon. I can see that being a fairly. I mean, I don't know actually. If
It's interesting because I mean, Labo sales have been good, been mediocre, but they haven't been stellar. So I'm really curious about how they do or how much they push it at around Christmas time, because it could be a huge Christmas gift to kids.
I agree.
So especially if they package it with a Switch, they say, hey, a Switch and a Labo, and don't forget all these games or whatever. And
I don't see that happening, but I can see them having some sort of discount deal where if you buy a Switch, you can get Labo for half off or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I think their bundles will be like Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, that kind of thing with 1-2 Switch. I've seen the bundle so far is Mario Tennis plus 1-2 Switch. I can see them doing that with Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch or Mario Kart and 1-2 Switch.
Do you think they'll package Pokemon or Smash Bros together with the Switch?
No, they usually don't do a pack. I mean, it's usually only when they're desperate will they pack in like a brand new game. It's usually a game that's already come out, and Lord knows there's enough great Switch games they could use as pack-ins. So I don't know. I mean, I agree. I'm curious to see how Labo does this holiday, because I know that's been what a lot of people have said, is that the holiday is their big sales peak, and the new Labo kit they've announced to me looks like the best one with the steering wheel and the car.
Yeah, in the island stuff. Yeah,
yeah, and cool. I saw some previews on Game Explain, and it looks pretty good. Like there's a lot of this. It's dense. You can do co-op. It just looks fun and relaxing, like the kind of thing you play to relax.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks cool.
So I guess back to our conversation about if there's going to be something else this year. I really don't think there is. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's I think Diablo 3 was kind of the last, and maybe Travis Strikes Again and Wargroove are kind of like that's it for this year. They announced, in other news, the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie coming next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a live action movie.
I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah, live action. So I think it's probably Japanese. I don't know if it's going to be made like in North America. So I don't.
I'm sure it will be brought over here.
I'm sure, but here's the thing. It's live action. So is it going to be live action with like Japanese people with English subtitles, or is it going to be like they just film in English? Like what's?
It'll be English subs or dubs for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
It's too big not to bring. Like that will be like huge.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's Peter. People love Pokemon. Pokemon is massive.
I know. But
It's the biggest franchise in the world.
you think if this movie was positioned to be a big movie, they would have just filmed it in North America, like the Sonic movie.
Yeah. I could see it being either way.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's also this news, Gamescom. Some visitor took a crap in a bag while waiting in line to play Fortnite. Apparently they went in a bag and just left it there, and then the line got so packed that people started stepping on it and spreading it through the hall. And then people complained. A young boy vomited. People complained. Service personnel was so disgusted they refused to pick it up.
Why is this relevant to our topic?
Because it is at Gamescom.
Oh.
Thoughts on this, or?
Yeah, that's bad. I don't know. It's like, how do I comment more than that?
Well, the thing too is the guy was in line to play Fortnite, and it's like you can play on your phone.
You can play on like 8 different systems.
It's already
and also,
out.
It's like how do you even use the bathroom in line without someone noticing?
Seriously.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you go to the bathroom in line and not have someone before you or after you notice that you're taking a poop?
Well, I guess you just kind of squat down and
Yeah.
put your wind jacket kind of around your waist. Also, they've announced in as Blades in Xenoblade 2, you can play as Elma from Xenoblade X.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's kind of cool. I mean, I like Xenoblade X. I'm not going to buy it, but again, I am holding out to see if they do release the the Torna expansion on its own digitally, because it might be a nice little. To me, I would love to buy a JRPG that is like $40 and a little shorter. I am so intimidated by that whole 100-hour plus thing, grinding, exploring these giant worlds, like crafting huge menus. Like, give me something that's bite size.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And maybe a cheaper price. Let me try to think. Is there anything else to cover here in news? There's one last piece of news here. They just announced or just released a Switch, a huge amount of deals on Switch games. So
big news.
Well, it's news because, I mean, if you're listening, it's a good chance to go out and buy some of these games, and I recommend you go. There's a lot of good games on sale. I actually picked up Yoku's Island Express yesterday.
Okay.
A game I've been eyeing, and it's on sale, and I gotta give this game a recommendation. It's really fun. The graphics are outstanding. Like, the graphics are Hollow Knight levels.
Okay. I gotta recommend Hollow Knight, by the way. That's what I was gonna recommend.
And it's on sale as well.
Yeah.
And the DLC just came out.
Came out yesterday. It's awesome.
You know, it's funny. Last night I turned my Switch on to play the Hollow Knight DLC. I see you and I see Dave playing Hollow Knight. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to jump into Hollow Knight. Then I have to download something. It says 25 minutes to download. So I jump into Dead Cells, and then the night just went away.
You gotta beat Hollow Knight first, Peter.
I know. I'm going to jump back into it. I'm really into Dead Cells right now. I'm getting much further every run, and I'm figuring the game out. And
nice.
I don't know. I really love it. I think it's definitely going to end up on my top 10 game of the year list this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if I should pick it up. I mean, the more I hear about it, the more I'm tempted to.
I just find it extremely addictive, and there's just so many weapons and so many combos of weapons and magic you can have. And every time you play, you're going to get something different. So you feel like every run is different and unique in itself. And the thing is, you can add... I mean, these are things I'm just starting to learn, but you can add little perks to each weapon. So you can make a weapon. You know, some weapons, let's say, will cover an enemy in flammable oil, and then you shoot them with an arrow that burns them. So it's like you can kind of add these multipliers. Or you can have, let's say, it's called a sign shot or something. Like, it's a gun. You're basically a turret you put down that can freeze enemies, and then you have your sword, which does X times 3 damage to frozen enemies. So there's all these kind of cool ways to trick out your setup. Mm-hmm. It's really quite awesome. I love
Nice.
it. It's unlike any game I've ever played, but I'm excited to get back into Hollow Knight. And you know, I'm excited. Spider-Man comes out in a week. I know that's not Nintendo related, but is it a
still
week?
big.
2 weeks or so?
September 7th.
7. So about a week and a half.
It's 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today.
And I think I'm going to pick up Spider-Man. I'm just going to head dive back into PS4, and I'm going to finish God of War, play Spider-Man. You know, I kind of find that I usually sway to one console for a while. Like I can't,
And then wait for Smash Bros to come out, basically.
yeah. Like I don't just jump between consoles. Like when now I've been in Switch mode all year. It's been hard to turn my PS4 on and jump into a new controller and jump into a whole new. It's not. I know it's not a big deal, but I don't know if you're like that. I just find that I sway towards consoles.
I usually go one game at a time, or one game on each console at a time. Like I always have a game going for each console.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I will probably pick up Smash Bros and maybe another Switch game or two, and plan to play those later in the year. And I'll focus on Spider-Man and God of War for the fall.
Nice.
Any other games you're getting this fall?
This fall, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out in October.
Oh yeah, that's it. The gameplay trailers look great for that.
Let me see what else I have. I have a whole Excel spreadsheet for all my games.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I've been thinking about getting Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but that's another one of those. And Diablo 3 as well. Like I really want both of those, but they'll either be kind of like Christmas things or down the line when they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
The only other game that is kind of maybe for me is The World Ends With You, because I never got to play that, and
that looks great, but I mean the price.
I know, that's why I'm gonna probably wait for it to go cheaper.
Yeah, that price.
It is
to me
third party, so
insane.
we'll go down. Soul Calibur 6 comes out, but I probably won't get that. Darksiders 3 comes out, probably won't get that. Just Cause 4 comes out, probably won't get that. So
I'm really surprised that Soul Calibur 6 is coming out and not getting it. It seems like it's just gonna get buried.
Well, it's coming out at an okay time. It's between Mario Party and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's
Coming
out
out October.
It's coming out before Red Dead. Yeah. So we'll see how it does. But
I mean, I used to be a big Soul Calibur fan. I just haven't really followed this new one.
if anything, I think Darksiders 3 is the one that's going to get bomb.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, you're going in between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Smash Bros. Ultimate, and you already have, like, 5 other big games before and after, and it's like, you're not that big of a game.
Well, I don't think Smash Bros. Ultimate matters because it's not coming to Switch. But that game
No, but money is money, right? Consumers only spend so much money.
True, but that game did strike me as the kind of thing where it doesn't seem super high budget. It's not like they need to sell tons of millions. Like I think
And they're selling at a reduced price, too. It's only $50.
Yeah, it could be a moderate success. And you got to remember, like, between Xbox One and PS4, there's tons and tons of those systems out there.
Yeah.
But they do seem to be a little bit more fickle with what they buy. Where, I mean, Switch, I own like 30 games on Switch in a year.
Yeah.
I own more Switch games than PS4 games.
Oh, I'm not even close.
Really? Well, you have PSN. That doesn't count.
Well, are we counting indies, too? Or, like, retail games?
Well, for both, I'm higher on Switch.
Switch, I might be, as far as like actual good indie games or downloadable games, I probably have more on the Switch. But as far as retail games, it's like I have 7 on the Switch and 50 on the PS4.
Wow. Well, yeah, but you buy a lot of retail games.
Yeah.
I still need to borrow a couple games from you.
Well, you still have games that you borrowed from me already, so.
I know.
So
I don't. Here's the thing with Resident Evil 7, though. I know you lent it to me. I really think I'm gonna wait until I can play that on VR.
Okay.
That's fine. I don't have $800 to drop right now on a PS4 Pro and a VR, but I think down the line, like whether or not PS5's better VR or something, I want to experience that game in the best way it can be experienced, not ruin it by not playing VR. So let's anything else to talk about? Or I mean, I there's so many things to talk about in a podcast, but I think that later in the year we'll kind of do our year-end review. We don't need to do that now.
Yeah, I think today we're good. We talked about the Direct. We have plenty of things to talk about after the Nindies Direct, after the next Direct.
Yeah.
Holidays, game reviews. There's tons of things to talk about.
So I guess for our listeners out there, basically Zion.
In Shy Guy.
Oh, Shy Guy XXL, Zion, and we have one other fan. I can't remember their name. I'm gonna give them a shout out. One sec. I'm gonna find out who they are. So we've got Shy Guy XXL, Belanes Martin, and Zion Inc. are 3 supporters right now who are leaving comments and watching. So yeah, for our listeners, thanks for listening, and let us know what you think, because these directs are hot topics, and for me personally, more so than just the direct, it's also knowing what Nintendo's release lineup is. So I mean, we've kind of discussed it today, and we'll probably keep discussing it forever. But for our listeners, what do you think's going to come out next year for Switch? What do you think's going to come out in January, February, March? Or later? Like, do you think there'll be a big game? Do you think they'll rely on remasters? Interested to know what you think.
And as far as big games go, like the games we've heard about, Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3, when do you think those games will be released? What date specifically?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm very curious. I think a lot of people are thinking they're going to come out next year. I think people are going to be disappointed about that.
I think Metroid Prime 4 won't, but I think Bayonetta 3 is a lock for next year.
Yeah, well, I think one of the 2 will come out next year.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to take a little bit longer, but I think it's going to be huge.
Yes, I agree.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the Breath of the Wild of Metroid.
Yeah.
I mean, in that
maybe not sales-wise, but critically acclaimed probably, yeah.
Yeah, and just like reinventing that. I think it's going to really reinvent the series. Okay, well, I guess that's it for this week. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
And please let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. All the support we can get right now helps. And also let us know what you'd like for us to talk about. Join the discussion.
Yes, yeah, let us know what you want our next podcast to be about.
Okay, and this is the Nintendo Bros Podcast. This is Pete, signing out.
And this is Derek. See you later.